Hi everyone, welcome back to Lisa's Love and Light. Let me turn this music down. How are you guys doing today? I think it's going to be another hot one today. I hope you guys are enjoying the weather. It's kind of weird for October, right guys? I mean, it's already October 7th and the weather is like this. I'm not complaining, but it just feels a little weird, especially with the days being shorter and it gets darker already. I'm starting to feel that mood change. So guys, when you start feeling that mood change, because many of us, love the summer, the days are longer, it's warmer, go to the beach, get out more. But as the weather starts to change and the days get shorter, it gets darker earlier and then it gets colder. You start to feel like a mood shift. So what I do, because I do feel that mood shift at times when that happens, music. Music helps to keep the vibrations high. And that's the topic of discussion today. Music and healing. And it really does help, guys. And I'm living proof of that. That music will shift your mood if it's low and you feel depressed and ugh. And then as soon as you put on that playlist of music, it changes the mood. That's why I have this going. In the future, I'm going to make some more changes. You guys will see that little by little. Things that make this video more comfortable, more inviting. That's the space that we need to be at today, guys, with all the toxicity and drama and negativity in this world that's playing over and over and over like a broken record. We need peace away from that stuff. We need to be in our comfort zone. And so I'm going to create a space of that. I got tied tongue for a minute. But create a space of, comfortability. Because all these things help your physical and mental health. That's why I have the music, I have flowers, but you'll see in the future I'm going to do some more things. So with that being said, keep in mind I'm not a therapist, I'm not a social worker or a counselor, just somebody who went through a lot of trials and tribulations, more than normal people. And I talk about ways I overcame instead of succumbing to it. It's so important, guys. Don't let these distractions take you off your path. Don't let these distractions take you away from your goals. Keep moving, keep going forward. And I talk about some ways that I have been able to do that. And perhaps you guys who might be going through some of these similar circumstances can hear what I'm saying here, and it can help you with your own situations. So with that being said again, music, guys, heals the soul. That's what I've learned. Music heals the soul. During the 2020 shutdown, probably from 2020 to 2023, I started to listen to a playlist of music. I grew up in in a house of music. My mom had the real big record player with all the different music from the 60s, 70s, even up to some of the 80s. And I put a playlist of that on. And once one play and that song goes off, then there's another one. And, and it helps to change my mood, to elevate it. And guys, perhaps this will help you as well. Self-care I talk about. And that's one of the ways I self-care. And sometimes just being alone so that you can look at your life and things from a different perspective. And the music help you to do that. A lot of work that I do with music. My books that I wrote them with music, having like red candles on, music. And just making an atmosphere comfortable. And I was able to write. It was during a time where I was going through a lot of pain, so I was writing down, even though my books are fiction, there's a, a little bit of truth to it. But most of it is. But I was able to take that pain and turn it into power. Instead of succumbing to the trials and tribulations, I put it into work, like books, just what I do here on YouTube and how I live my life. Back then, before I did YouTube or any of this, I was hitting the gym because I think that was the only thing besides the supermarkets during the shutdown that was open, and I was hitting the gym left and right because the pain of every week, losing somebody that I love to COVID, otherwise, whatever it was, and just going through that difficult, dark time. But one of the things I learned from that, guys, is that when you are going through trials and tribulations over and over again, and you really learn who your true friends are during that time. If you want to test it, you'll know who's in your corner, who really isn't. And I learned that, like I told you guys, this is a learning experience, many of these things. And I learned who my true friends were and who were not. And so I had to make some decisions. I had to change some things around a little bit. Took me a while to do it because, like I said, I don't like letting people and situations go. But as I got stronger on this journey and path, and I started to listen to music, look at things from a different perspective, to do the pro and con list of what someone's bringing to my table and what I've brought to their table. And when, the scales are not balanced, then I had to make some adjustments. And the first step was with the boundaries. People don't like boundaries, but it's necessary for your peace of mind, for your mental and physical growth. And people were crawling over it, disrespecting it, and it got to the point where I had to just cut off, block, and delete. And guys, it hurt me because I like to help people grow. I like to see people do well. I'm not about that metaphor, crabs in a bottom of the barrel trying to pull somebody down, somebody who deserved to grow, heal, and evolve, especially after they did the work on themselves. And because somebody's envious of that and they feel like they don't want to do it, so they want you down there with them. And I had to cut off, block, and delete simply for that reason. And it didn't matter if it was family, so-called friends that I knew all my life, even romantic connections, they had to go. Anything that's going to interfere with your growth and progress, especially when it comes to your mental and physical health, you have to put those things in a boundary or look at it from a different perspective. And sometimes you may have to cut it off, and it's hard to cut off, especially when it's family and people you've known all your life. But like I said, nothing should come before your mental and physical health, because if you can't grow, heal, and evolve, then you stay stuck in your negative circumstances. And if you're stuck there, you can't grow. It just becomes a chokehold on your life. And it's like the other metaphor that I use, carrying tons of bricks. I wish I had to show a physical picture of that, but I can't draw, guys. But anyway, of a man or person, doesn't matter, climbing a mountain with tons of bricks, because that would give you more of a visual for people who are visual like myself, because it's like showing you that, hey, this person can't climb this mountain carrying their burdens and the burdens of everybody else around them. But when they throw those burdens off their back, they can climb that mountain lightly, upright, and that's what I had to do. Tell people, I'm sorry, I got to take care of me. And they didn't like that, and some people cut themselves off from me because of it. But that's okay too, guys, because it shows you in your darkest moment, your time of need and want, who really is for you and who's not for you. And the separation was necessary, because if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be able to stay on this path or journey. I would be distracted by what everybody else need and want, and neglect my own needs as I was doing before. So I had to make some adjustments. And it wasn't easy. It took time, because I kept falling off the wagon, going back because feeling bad. And then when I go back, boom, they would do something worse and worse and worse. And I said I have to learn these lessons, because like I always say, if you don't learn the lessons, when it comes back around, different characters, same scenario, worse seen than ever, right? Than before. So I had to learn, shut those doors forever. And couldn't do it by myself. I had to ask God to help me. So I started to go into prayer. And what I noticed is that I didn't have to sit in a church or in a specific organization for somebody to pray for me. Yes, it's okay for people to pray for you, but I can pray to God through Jesus, and I can be sincere and tell him what I want and my needs, just like I talked to you guys in this video. And God started to listen to me as I cried my heart out on my knees, saying about A, B, C, and D and what I want and need. And as I put forth the effort, I didn't say to God, I want A, B, C, and D, and I sat down like a couch potato and did nothing. I did the work. I started taking steps in a direction that I was asking him for help in. You know, even if it was baby steps, I started to notice that behind the scenes, God was taking 2, 3, and 4 steps. And this is real, guys. And I started to do more work on myself, you know, and it took a while because these things doesn't come with an instruction book on how to, you know, do this way or that way. You know, you have to figure it out, you know, and I started to figure out things creatively, like turning pain into power. You know, writing was very therapeutic for me, you know, writing books. And I didn't really start off that way, and I didn't have a plan to do that, but that was one of the ways to pour out, by writing, to pour out the pain. It was an outlet for it. You know, there's different outlets, ways that we can get through pain besides therapy, but therapy was the first step, the first starting point, because from there I was able to figure out other things. It's like having the metaphor I use, you got a box with 1,000 pieces of puzzle. You turn that box over, you don't know what the picture is until you sit down day by day, start and put the pieces together. And as you put more and more pieces together, you see what that picture is. That's how this journey is of healing. You don't know, and you don't set out, well, it's going to happen like this or that. You don't know. So as you go along, you start to figure things out little by little, baby steps. Like a baby learning to walk. They know they have to walk. They know they're supposed to walk. So no matter how many times they fall down, they get right back up until they're walking the way they should. That's how this life is, you know, with journeys. People, circumstances, situations come into our life for a reason, a season, a lifetime, guys, or a lesson. And when the lessons are unlearned, they come back harder, worse. So the quicker that you learn these lessons, the better you feel. You feel better, you self-care more, and then that self-care turns into self-love. And guess what, guys? That low self-esteem that you were feeling, less than 0, you turn that around. You start to love yourself. And when you not be in love with yourself, but love yourself enough to know that these toxic situations and circumstances, they no longer belong in your life. You get no value from it. You know, you go over, you close those doors, go over here, open these new doors. And God has better things and situations behind them as you continue to do the work, step by step, day by day. And when I talk about a playlist of music, it helps me because I listen to music every single day. It helps me not only to tune out negativity, but it helps me like with decisions, hard decisions I have to make. If I sit for an hour just listening to music, doing nothing else, it helps me. I don't know, I get a download about a situation. Don't do it like this, do it like that. And then boom. And it happens over and over again. And when I do that, I start to see positive results, the results that I want. So music is really a healing source, guys. You know, and when especially when I have a difficult, frustrating, stressful day, because not every day is going to go well. We all know that, right? We're going to have some good days where we're like feeling real good. And then we have those days that, you know, but on those days like that, you know, I come in and just sit, listen to music, do things to build up yourself. Remember, guys, also that true love, when you love yourself, You will attract real love, true love. Remember, love of any kind, whether it's a romantic connection, family, friendship, whatever it is, it's supposed to enhance your life, lift you up. It's not supposed to tear it apart. That's toxic love. And when you start to grow, heal, and evolve, you close the doors to those things, to anything that's not for your highest good, and anything that doesn't serve who you are. And a lot of people from the past don't really know who the new me is, so they are stuck in an old version of who I used to be. And because they can't come back in because doors have been closed, many of them will go around with the gossip, the malicious lies and stuff. At first, I used to be so hurt by it and so angry. But as I continue to heal, grow, and evolve and stay in meditation and prayer, I tune out that noise. It's like climbing a mountain. You hear all these echoes and noises around you in the beginning. And as you get higher and higher up that mountain, you tune that noise out. You don't even hear that stuff anymore. And I'm at the point where if people believe these things, so be it. Because that means that anybody can tell anybody anything. And it's a sign of weakness to me, because I would never believe anything about someone unless I go to the source itself and find out what the truth is. And also, it reminds me of a game I used to play when I was a teenager. I don't know how many of you guys played this game. It would be like 10 people. We would put chairs together in a circle, right? And we all would sit in that circle. And then one woman would whisper, one girl, would whisper in the ear of the other. And it would go around until it got to the 10th person. And that person would stand up and repeat what was said. It was never, ever what was whispered from the beginning. It never came out that way. That's how gossip is. That's how you have to look at gossip. It's always something added to it, an ingredient added to it that shouldn't be there. But, people will, people who are low vibrational and like that kind of stuff, they will, cater to that. And you just let people be who they are, But what I do is focus on my growth and focus on helping others who want to do the same instead of all the other stuff, because that stuff keeps you stuck and stagnated. It'll keep a chokehold on your life. Just like being bitter because somebody did something to you way back when and they don't care and they moved on. I was having a conversation with a friend about that, and I said to her, you have to forgive. And she was having a hard time digesting that. But then I said to her, the forgiveness is not for them, it's for you, so that you can move on. Because whatever they do with that, it doesn't mean for you to reconcile with that person, no way. But the forgiveness is so that you can let go of the bitterness and the pain. So you're not stuck and choking on it. They don't have a chokehold on you, because when you stay in that pain and bitterness, that person who did you wrong and who hurt you, they take your power. Many people don't know this, so I'm sharing this. They take your power, and then they go over here and do whatever, and leave you broken down, busted, and disgusted. But when you take that pain and you turn it into power, and power into purpose into helping yourself and helping other people, you took your power back, guys. That's how you win. That's how you get the victory. And you keep going up and moving forward, and you leave that person where they are. If they don't want to grow, heal, and evolve, okay, fine. Let them stay where they are. It doesn't mean that you reconcile. The forgiveness is for you so that you can move forward. And that's the way I was, helping her to see that. And once you keep moving forward and your life is growing and moving forward, that's how you win, guys. That's how you get the victory. And I do a lot of these things creatively that I've done with music. Music heals the soul. It is a healing source. So any ways that you can find to heal creatively, to heal your soul and your spirit, do so, guys, because you're going to feel much better. You're going to be glad that you did so. You want to remember, guys, always, you want to be at a place where you are at inner peace instead of broken down into pieces. That's the message today, guys. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate you. Share this video with people who need to hear the message, because not everybody comes out and communicate how they feel. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you guys sometime tomorrow. Remember that I don't have a set time as of yet. Hopefully in the future that will change. But in the meantime, please subscribe to the channel, invite others to do so, so that we can keep this message going. This is Lisa, shedding love and light. You guys enjoy your day and do something for yourself, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now, guys.